I'm back. You boys and girls are going to laugh at me. You know how Miss Tobi says that everybody makes mistakes, even grown-ups? Yeah, I was trying to show you what we had in the pan and what it looked like, and somehow I turned off the video and couldn't get it to work right again. So I just decided to pick up where we left off, only this time I'm going to use red in our pan. So I've already got our blue Jello, or our blue Play-Doh right here. This is what it'll look like when it's all done, except this time we're going to make red. And it smells good because it smells like the Jello. But I put everything back in our pan and we're going to start it over again, because I was going to make two batches anyway. So I'm stirring this up, and when you first put everything in the pan, it's just going to look like Jello soup. It's not going to look like a ball of Play-Doh quite yet. And it takes, probably between 7 and 10 minutes of cooking on the stove and stirring it for it to get finished so that you can see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to pause our video again, and I'm going to do it right this time, I think. And I'll show you what it looks like when it gets closer to done. Okay, so I'm still cooking and still stirring our Play-Doh here in the pan. And you can tell it's starting to get done because as you're stirring it, it's getting thicker on the bottom of the pan. And it'll make kind of a glob on the end of your spoon like that. Just keep stirring and it'll get thick enough in a little while. Okay, so I'm getting towards the end of cooking the Play-Doh. And while I was doing this, I was thinking about people doing their Play-Doh at home. And kids, if you're going to do Play-Doh at home, you have to be very careful because we do it on top of the stove. And so you always have to be good listeners whenever you're working around the stove because it gets very hot. And I would be so sad if any of you got hurt with the stove from trying to make Play-Doh. There are several different recipes online for Play-Doh, and you may be able to find one. In fact, I'll post this recipe on our page with a link, and I'll also post some recipes that don't take any cooking. Those are fun to play with if you're just going to play with them for a while and you don't care if they last for a long time. The cooked ones just last a little bit longer as far as they don't get moldy and smelly and stuff. If you're just going to play with it for a little while, you can do it with just a couple ingredients with the flour and the salt and some water and just make like a salt dough. And that's still fun to play with too. Oh my goodness, so this has gotten to where it is pretty much ready. I'm going to set our blue Play-Doh aside. And what I've got to put it in here is just a container from some takeout Chinese soup. And so I'll put it in there and we can play with it later. But I'll show you what we do with the red Play-Doh. Because it's just kind of a big glob and it's a little bit messy in your pan. You're going to want to probably clean your pan out right away. But it rinses out pretty easily if you have a non-stick pan. Okay. And it does come out super hot. So parents, you're going to want to do this. And the kids can't touch it until it, of course, cools off. But it's fun for them to be able to be involved and stir, and they can watch you do it. And usually, if you say something's hot, they believe us. So it turns out kind of like this. And it's still pretty warm to the touch. So you'll just want to be careful with it. And knead it just a little bit so it quits being sticky. Leave it in a ball. Leave it to cool off. And there you've got Play-Doh. So you can play. Play-Doh, of course, is really good for working on those fine motor skills they're going to use once they start to learn how to write. And it's also a good way to relieve some stress because we're all a little stressed right now. Squeeze it, Mom and Dad. That's a lot of fun too. So I hope you enjoyed our making of Play-Doh, and you can try it on your own. Like I said, I'll post some recipes for you so that you can make your own at home, and I hope you enjoy. Bye.